going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to take a look at this. This is my absolute favorite miter saw I've ever used. It's the Milwaukee 7 1/4. They don't stock it at Home Depot, you gotta get it online. Home Depot stocks the 10-inch one and the thing is no good. But this thing has excellent dust collection. I mean, not like a shop saw will, but it does really good. And you can run this off a 5.0, and I've done it, but I'm up on a roof, so I slapped a 12 on there. Gives me a little extra power, and I've been using this battery for like, this would be day 3 on the same battery. It had to be hoisted up. "40-foot ladder," and we're doing some composite decking. I mean, I've been able to do everything that everything I've thrown at the saw I've been able to do, except for really big crown molding is the only thing. And then if you get into 1x12s, obviously you gotta flip the board over and do 2 cuts, but you know what? Who cares? If it's for outdoor stuff or something that doesn't need to be, you know, like furniture quality, it does just fine, especially if you keep everything squared up. This thing's about probably 2 years old, and one thing I will mention, there was a house we were working in and it flooded, or rain got in, went down through 2 floors, and on the bottom floor it landed right on top of this saw. And I put the battery in, I was trying to use it, and it would appear that it was broken. I put it in the truck, I was going to send it back to Milwaukee, and I tried it again one more time before I sent it, and the thing started working again. And it's been working ever since, so I've never had to send this saw back yet. And I beat it up quite badly. So the only thing you'll notice is if you have, you know, co-workers or whatever that are putting stuff, you know, cocked on an angle and they don't know what they're doing, and then the blade catches the piece of wood and slams it into the fence. There's a couple of these bolts under here, and one of the guys actually bent this piece a little bit one time, and I was wondering why I couldn't get it square. So I pulled this piece off and bent it back, put a straight edge across, made sure it was perfectly straight, put it back on, squared it all back up, and I haven't had an issue. And my boss cut through one of my fences, but luckily you can get parts for them pretty easily. You just go to Milwaukee and they'll send you a new one. So yeah, this is it, man. The store's easy. It's super light. It goes about 48 and 40, looks like 47.5 degrees that way because of the knob. And then about the same thing on here. Yeah, it's about the same. But you have these stops that you can set for, you can do 45. These are stopped at 45. Then you just take this thing and twist it up, and now you can go all the way to 48. One thing I love about this saw is the motor is on an angle. My boss bought a Dewalt one, the motor comes straight out. And for a lot of things, the motor will hit. You can actually cut a 2x4 straight up and down. Oh, let me stick it over there, yeah. Just about. I think it might be the blade, but usually I don't have a problem cutting regular 2x4s. This is pressure treated, so it might be a little, you know how lumber is and it varies, but most of the time, especially a regular 2x4, cut them straight up and down. Not that you would be doing that, but and I do smaller crown with this all the time, so don't think you can't, because you can. I have a little jig, which I'll show you. Instead of cutting crown upside down, you put it in and it sticks out from the fence like this, and then you just cut it. And there's a few other reasons I like that little jig for like uneven corners, and I'll show you that. But this is really a review on the saw, not the jig, but I highly recommend this thing. It is worth every penny. I almost forgot to mention, one of my favorite features is there's a laser light up in here, or it's just an LED light, and it shines down the blade. And all you gotta do is flip this little button before you cut, and that'll turn the light on. It'll come on anyway when you pull the trigger, but if you don't want to pull the trigger to get it started, it becomes a habit doing that. Like, I always go to do this on my boss's saw sometimes. It's not there, but it's hard to see outside. You can see it a little bit, but I mean, decking, I don't need to be that accurate, and I'm just cutting it. But when you're indoors doing finish stuff, that laser light is awesome. Like, I hate saws that don't have it now. You get so used to it, it's like a luxury. So this is that little jig that I use with the Milwaukee saw for cutting crown. You can get this at Home Depot. It's called a Crown King by General. And you know, this is just for like standard, you know, 4-inch, 5-inch nested crown. And you have your 52 degrees. You would slip this in with the 52 degrees up, or you have your 38 degrees, you would slip it in with 38 up, or you just leave it out, which is normally, I haven't used this yet. Usually it's always 45, but you leave it out, you just slip the crown in here, and that's 45 degrees. And it tells you right on the top, interior, exterior. So it basically tells you which way your saw blade should be facing. And the great thing about this, you just slide this up against the fence, and you grab onto the crown here. You know, you slip your thumb under it, and then you just make your cut. I mean, this, and you can do the crown, you know, with the top of the crown up. Usually you take crown molding and you flip it upside down on the saw to cut it. But with this thing, you don't have to. And this thing's plastic, so it has a little bit of give to it. And I kind of like that for those corners that you just need to like tweak something just a little bit. You can. And it doesn't flex that much that it's going to throw your cuts off too bad. So yeah, but that's what I use with the Milwaukee saw, and I haven't had any trouble doing crown molding. I've done a 4-inch you can definitely do on that saw. 5-inch I believe you can do on that saw, but it's been a while since I've done any 5, so I don't want to say that and have somebody be like, no, you can't do it. I know you can do 4, and I'm pretty sure you can do 5, but another thing I forgot to mention is I used my boss has the new 12-inch battery Milwaukee miter saw, and that thing's nice too, but that thing is heavy. You know, it's pretty big. It's hard to move around. It's great for anything big, and the 12-inch one actually has little screws or threaded holes on the 2 sides of the saws where you can actually, and I kind of figured out what those holes were for, and I went online and looked it up, and I was like, I wonder if they have crown stops for this, and sure enough they do, and that's where they go. So I mean, if you're doing crown molding all day long, all the time, doing all different sizes, then I would get the 12-inch. But I don't know, like a 12-inch miter saw, I'd probably go corded anyway. It really doesn't need to be that portable. But I'm telling you, man, that 7 1/4, that is the way to go if you're doing finished stuff and just small things everywhere. You have to climb up and down stuff. And I did a test, and I hooked up a vacuum to my 7 1/4, and I hooked up the same vacuum to my boss's 12-inch. And the 7 1/4 and the 12-inch saw are identical. They're just one's bigger than the other. The 10-inch one is different from the other two. But I did a dust collection test between the 7 1/4 and the 12-inch, and the 7 1/4 hands down collects dust way better than the 12. So that might be a factor and when you buy the miter saw, but I'm telling you, the 7 1/4 is, you won't be disappointed. Alright, so with the Milwaukee 7 1/4 dual bevel sliding compound miter saw, I'm not gonna show you me, like, I'm not gonna cut every kind of material there is out there. I mean, it's kind of pointless. I'm telling you, it'll cut anything you can throw at it. You know, within reason. I cut composite decking, pressure treated. You know, even if it's a 2x10 or a 2x12, you have to just flip the board over once. But the amount of time that I'm cutting big stuff like that is not very often, so it's not really a big deal to me. I mean, you also have to remember that it's a battery tool. It's not a corded tool. So don't expect to be able to just pull the trigger like your 12-inch corded one and then just karate chop through the wood like my boss likes to do. He just likes to, it's like, dude, let the tool cut. You don't have to do that. Just pull the trigger and let the tool cut it. Doesn't take that much extra and you're not beating up the tool. So I went on to acmetools.com. I just wanted to see what the prices were. And I'm kind of shocked. I'm pretty sure this is the kit, so this comes with battery and charger. But the 7 1/4 dual bevel is $549. And when I paid for it, Acme Tools had some sort of promotion going on, and I ended up getting $100 off. And I remember I paid under $300 after taxes, shipping, and everything to my door. But this was also 2 years ago. And if you see here, they actually have the 10-inch. 10-inch miter saw is less at $4.99, but that one is bare tool. No charger, no battery. But don't be fooled. That 10-inch Milwaukee miter saw is a piece of trash. Don't buy it. Milwaukee doesn't always get everything right, and that's one that they really screwed the pooch on. Just the whole dust collection system on that. There's like this long rail, and the dust has to like ride down this rail to get to the bag. And then after the 10-inch, they came out with this 7 1/4, and everybody loves this saw. Like the second you pull it, as soon as you open the box and pick that thing up out of the box and feel how light it is, you're like, oh yeah, yep, this was worth it. And then they have the 12-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw kit, which is $849. But again, me personally, I think I'll eventually buy a 12-inch sliding dual bevel compound miter saw that's corded to have in the shop, or to bring to the job site when I'm doing large crown or anything that's big. And it doesn't need to be that portable. I'll plug it in, no big deal. But this 7 1/4, man, I'm telling you, like, if you're working in the city and you're lugging this thing up and down, and it's one of those saws that you can store in the truck and always have it on you, and it's not in the way. Like, I built my shelves around the saw so I could slide it in there. And I always have a miter saw on me, always. So, yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend the 7 1/4 to anyone that's looking for a miter saw to be portable. And this thing's just badass. Like, I love this saw. But yeah, that's it, guys. I just wanted to do a little review on this saw. It's worth every penny, so make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.